Morning. If I could, I'd like to ask everyone to grab a seat. Or turn it over to our chair, Mr. Tim Hardy.
Good morning. This time I'd like to call our meetings to order, the October 9th, 2024 Board of Supervisors meeting. And at this time, I'm going to ask Supervisor Abigail Ardoin to lead us in the pledge.
To the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Supervisor. At this time, I will ask for roll call with Eric Kapoor.
I would be happy to do so. Chair Hardy.
Present.
Present. Supervisor Smith
Here.
is present. Supervisor Toops is absent. Supervisor Burke is present. Supervisor Butler McIntyre
I'm here.
is present. Supervisor Hall is absent. Supervisor Hogan is present. Supervisor Holland is absent. Supervisor Johnson
Present.
is present. Supervisor Lee
Present.
is present. Supervisor McConduit is absent. Supervisor Moody
Here.
is present. Supervisor Mount
Present.
is present. Supervisor Price is absent. Supervisor Salath
Here.
is present. Supervisor Audubon
Present.
is present. Supervisor Eli is present. Okay, Chair Hardy, we do have a quorum at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Poole.
Welcome.
At this time, I ask if there has been any request for public comment related to one of the enumerated agenda items on today's meeting agenda. This is a reminder that public comment must be related to a specific agenda item.
We have not had public comments at this time, Chair Hardy.
Thank you, Ms. Poole. This time, I request a motion to approve the October 9th, 2024 meeting agenda.
First by Supervisor Mount, second by Supervisor Salath.
Been moved and seconded. There are discussion? Objections? Hearing none. Motion carries. This time, I request a motion to approve the August 14th, 2024 meeting minutes. Do you have a motion?
By Supervisor Butler McIntyre, second by Supervisor Johnson.
A motion and a second. Is there discussion? Are there objections? Hearing none, motion carries. This time, I'd like to present the consent agenda items for consideration by the board. Mr. Chair,
Have recommends the
consent agenda which consists of
items E1 and E3.
with the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Butler McIntyre, seconded by Supervisor Salath.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Hearing none, motion carries. This time, I've asked that I will provide the chair of the board report. Let me begin by saying it has been wonderful being here in Lake Charles. Chancellor Aspinwall has been a wonderful host, and my immediate past chair. Happy to be in your place, and the both of you have done extremely well. I'm still trying to get over the wonderful meal last evening. I kind of overdid it. We had a wonderful retreat on yesterday. Excited about our new board members. I thought we had great fellowshipping and we got a lot of good work done. Before we bring up the Secretary Showen, what I'd like to do, and I'm gonna have to call him out. We have a former board member, a student board member here with us today that I served with him, and I just was over the moon with his contribution to this board. Frank Russell, would you please come up to the front and please share a few words with us?
You can sit right here in this chair.
In the middle chair.
it'll reach.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Very well.
So, all right, I wasn't prepared to come and speak today. I
know.
just wanted to come visit and smile and shake hands and see everybody and really, I'm just so pleased that there's so many familiar your face student board member in 2013, graduated in 2014, and y'all keep inviting me back to come and talk because since I graduated from Cruella, I've had nothing but success in my career. And so I love to come back and share that with everyone. And y'all have invited me back a few times actually to come and speak. And the last time I spoke, I thanked so many people that were at Cruella, and almost every single one of the people who I appreciated are in this room right now. And so if I can name call them, Dr. Jimmy Sawtell, Dr. Rick Bateman, Dr. Aspenwall, which if y'all remember, last time we said, I think I've heard more than anybody else, this is not your granddaddy's old trade school. So I'm just so pleased to see everyone still here working to ensure that our community gets a great education and ends up with great careers. So I just appreciate the work y'all do, and I'm happy to come back and visit y'all and thank y'all so much for having me back all the time. I really do love everybody in this room. So, do y'all have any questions for me? Oh, good.
Thank you very much. It's always a kick seeing our students become successful and contribute to their communities. And I think you exemplify that as much as anybody. And that's why we do what we do. And also at this time, what I'd like to do is have a few words from our host and my immediate past chair, Supervisor Willie Mount.
Thank you. Just welcome everybody. I'm thrilled with all the new board members that you're very first board meeting is here in Lake Charles. So we're very proud and excited that you joined us, and I think it's obvious that Cruella is, you know, my main heartthrob, and I'm just so proud of Neil and his team. And particularly the quality program, everybody talked to me. That's why I said, oh my God, this was so good. And we just excel and continue to excel. And with that, just welcome everybody. I know you've been here before. And, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And I know you're likely on a tight schedule, but at this time, I'd like to invite Susie Showen, Secretary of the Louisiana Workforce Commission, to the table to share about, with us about the work going on the Workforce Commission. Secretary Showen.
Thank you very much, and lots of good friends in this room. I'm really glad to be here and glad to be in Lake Charles. I don't actually get out here often enough, so I look forward to finding some excuses to spend a little more time out here. I'm not going to be long-winded. I want to just share our three main priorities as the Louisiana Workforce Commission and talk just very briefly a little about some ways that I see us all working together and give you a chance to ask me any questions that you might have for me. So many of you in this room have heard me talk about our labor force participation rate, which is the percentage of adults who are either working or actively looking for work. And in Louisiana, it's quite a low number. And we've been digging into those numbers in some detail lately. And I'll have some more information for all of you in terms of that as we move forward with the analysis. But long story short, we just have a very small percentage versus the other 50 states and the District of Columbia of our adults who are really engaged with work. Our main priority as the Louisiana Workforce Commission is making sure that we can drive economic growth by supplying our employer partners with a talented and skilled workforce, and make sure that through that work, we're offering opportunities for upward social mobility for our Louisiana people. And we can't do either of those things without directly addressing the low labor force participation rate. In Louisiana, we just don't have enough currently unemployed people to fill the number of job openings that we have. We have so many new jobs projected to come to Louisiana, and we can't capitalize on that growth if we can't find the workers to get into those jobs. So we have to pull people into the labor force who are not currently in the labor force. Those labor force non-participants are outside of the world of work for a number of different reasons. And I do want to stress the numbers that I usually quote are the full adult population. So it does include a number of people who are retired. It includes homemakers, and it includes people with disabilities that are severe enough that, you know, joining the workforce isn't something that is likely to be productive for them. However, we do know, and again, you know, we're using the same measure that all the other states use. We know that there are a whole lot of people who are disengaged from work, who would want to work and are able to work. And those are the people that we are directly targeting. And we know about those people because we and our network of regional workforce development boards and American Job Centers, one-stops, whatever you want to talk about them, we talk to them all the time, every day. And so do our partners. We have partners with the Medicaid system and with Children and Family Services in particular, who through, again, Medicaid, SNAP, and TANF programs, the food stamps and sort of the traditional welfare programs, talk to these people all the time, every day. And so we know that we need to tackle a few barriers to getting them into the labor force. So I'm gonna sort of back up and talk again about our three main priorities. The first is those business workforce solutions that I alluded to earlier. Act 330 of the last legislative session gave me both responsibility and authority to be the quarterback for business workforce solutions. Prior to that, in state and in federal statute, that responsibility was not clearly delegated. So it is now my responsibility to make sure that we work directly with our employer partners to make sure that they have the workforce that they need. And this is more than just new entrants to the workforce coming directly out of training and education. It also means addressing the needs of those middle skilled folks, skilling up the current populations, but also making sure that we've got strategies to help the employer partners attract people who already have a certain amount of job experience under their belt. We know that that's a big gap right now. And also for very highly skilled people, we may not have a very deep bench of in Louisiana. We need to look at how we look beyond our borders to attract those people here, so that we then open up a number of jobs for our citizens by making sure that we've got those leaders there. So we're currently building out an infrastructure to help to address directly the needs of business and industry. We're prioritizing some industry sectors. Y'all are going to be a big part of the solution. I'm sure you can see that. The second is targeting those labor force non-participants that I was talking about. And that strategy is built around creating what we call the one-door model, where we're not sending our most vulnerable citizens chasing all over the place, trying to apply for one set of benefits over here, another, you know, across the parish or in a different parish, where we're helping them to coordinate the services offered by all of those federally funded programs, with the goal of getting them into work and on the pathway to self-sufficiency, so that we can reduce the benefits rolls, but we're doing so by making sure that people are able to support themselves and their families. Those strategies in a lot of ways are going to require some changes to state government. So we're looking at that to better coordinate things at the state level. But where the magic really happens is at the local level. And we're looking at opportunities to co-locate with many of these different programs. And that is a direct opportunity for partnership with LCTCS. We're all serving the same group of people. The people that we are pulling into the labor force need education and training of the type that LCTCS offers. Simultaneously, you interact with a lot of these folks who are looking for opportunities to advance themselves, and we have programs that can help them and can help support them and help them overcome some of the barriers that they confront. So we've been talking with Dr. Sullivan about the bird maintenance programs that you're looking at. And as LCTCS strategizes what types of maintenance programs and what types of facility modifications you're looking at, we want to look at whether that offers us an opportunity to locate some of our services and some of our partners' services, so that we can, again, directly serve your students, but also make sure that we're able to take our populations and move them into education and training. I'm super excited by that possibility. And then the final sort of pillar of our work is education alignment. So with the labor force participation work, our governor likes to describe that as moving people from dependence to independence. With the educational alignment work, he likes to say that every education needs to end in a vocation. I need him to give me a cute little tagline for the business workforce solutions. That's the missing piece. This is a rare skill set of his, and we appreciate him for that. But working with our K-12 systems and our higher education systems to make sure that our people are graduating from their educational programs with skill sets that align with the needs of the economy. There's nobody that does that better than LCTCS. So in a lot of ways, you're really the model that we want to help other folks aspire to. We're doing some really good work with K-12 with the new accountability system. We're providing a lot of support for particularly the internship and apprenticeship programs that they're currently emphasizing, but a number of other things as well. And then working with the Board of Regents on exploring how we better fund the types of programs that lead to good employment outcomes for people, and how we make sure that our young folks have access to the kind of information that will let them make a super informed decision about what they're choosing to do with their educational pathways. So that's our story. Does anybody have any questions, comments, ideas on opportunities for collaboration?
Madam Secretary, I don't have a question, but I do have a thank you from this board. Last Tuesday evening, at our LCTCS gala, LCTCS was the recipient of $40 million from the Louisiana Governor's Office of Broadband. You were instrumental in helping to make that happen. This board and our system owes you a huge thank you for the great work. We very much appreciate it. Also a lot of fun to see one of our own and be able to contribute to this organization. Susan, you've been a great partner all along in this work. I can't wait to see what we'll be able to do together as we have an opportunity to bring some of those one-stops onto our college campuses, bringing people to the campus to gain both benefits as well as education skills. That's the key. So we always, there's an open invitation to you from this board for every meeting. Much appreciate you.
I appreciate that.
Thank
And I
you for the
consider
work. One
myself a member of the family.
final, has any questions from the board members?
No, I'd just like to add something. I'd like to thank you personally as well. We've worked together in the past and foundation board together. So It's an honor to have you back before us. And I'm thanking you for what happened in New Orleans with the 40 million. And also, in my trek back to Baton Rouge today, the first person I'm gonna see is gonna be Vineeth, because I gotta thank him as well. I mean, so what you all have done, so he is on my schedule to see today to give him a personal thanks. So thank you so very much.
Well, and thank you and welcome back.
I'm honored to be out of the penalty box. Thank you.
Oh, thank you all very much.
Thank you. At this time, Dr. Sullivan will provide the president's report for this meeting.
Very good. Thank you. And, can you hear me okay? Sound good? All right, very good. I want to kick off this morning's president's report with an opportunity to hear from some of our partners with the United States Coast Guard. You know, when we see an innovation that occurs at one college that is benefiting students, what's more important than making sure that 11 other colleges offer those same kinds of opportunities? And so today, not only do we have the United States Coast Guard here to talk to us about a great program, a lateral entry program at Sewella Technical Community College, but we also can talk now about the potential of those 12 colleges all across Louisiana, the support of our colleagues from the United States Coast Guard. So with that, Chancellor, I'd like to invite you and our colleagues from the Coast Guard to come forward and give us an update on the program and a little bit of an explanation.
Morning, Chair Hardy, President Sullivan, members of the board. First of all, thank you for allowing us to come this morning and talk to you about a very interesting collaboration between Sewella and the United States Coast Guard. I have with me on my left Commander Elizabeth Newton. She's the commanding officer of the Marine Safety Unit in Lake Charles. And I'd also like to recognize some of the Coast Guard members that she brought with her. We also have her staff, some of her staff from the Lake Charles unit. We also have from the Marine Safety Unit in Arthur, Captain Anthony Miglerini, commanding officer. We also have from the Marine Safety Unit in Morgan City, Lieutenant Ernest Neelam. We also have from the Marine Safety Unit in Baton Rouge, Commander Michael Novak, commanding officer. Welcome. We appreciate you being here. Also have with me Dr. Helms, our Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, who was instrumental in working with Commander Newton to set up the lateral entry program. Our lateral entry program actually began in March of this year, but as Dr. Sullivan said, I'm happy to say this morning, the system signed an agreement that opens this program to all the other 11 colleges, which is great opportunities for what we do most is provide services to our students. So before I turn it over to Commander Newton, I always like to, if you haven't found out now, brag a little bit about Sewella. So for Sewella, this creates a few milestones. First, we were the first in Louisiana to establish a direct enlistment program with the United States Coast Guard, and we were first in the United States to establish a health services technician lateral entry program with the Coast Guard. This time, I'd like to ask Commander Newton to tell us about the program.
Good morning, everyone. I did bring a script, and I say that because if I don't, I'll have a tangent, and I know your time is touched, so thank you very much. So if I you got all the basic facts and the importance of this program. So, like was mentioned, I am the commanding officer of the local Marine Safety Unit here in Lake Charles. We have about 45 people that work for me, and there is a second Coast Guard unit here, a station Lake Charles that also has about 10 to 15 active duty members. We have about 60 or so active duty Coast Guard members that are representatives of the Coast Guard here in Lake Charles, which is absolutely amazing. And the that came with me, the other commanding officers and everything, they would be the liaisons with the LCTCS when this program like Baton Rouge and Morgan City and Helena and New Orleans and stuff. So as mentioned, on March 13th, 2024, a letter of intent was signed, making Sewella Technical College the first college in Louisiana to be approved for the direct enlistment lateral entry program with the United States Coast Guard. This program allows for a streamlined and accelerated recruitment process so Sewella graduates can apply for some of the Coast Guard's most critical ratings. We are focused on the best qualified candidates and with specific skills and credentials that are immediately strengthening to the Coast Guard's unit or workforce, directly entering into our enlisted ranks as an E4, a third-class petty officer, or an E5 as a second-class petty officer. This LOI is approved for 4 career paths, one of which being the health services technician, which was the first in the United States for that particular entry program. Beat it by a week, we beat Texas by a week. I got it. I got you getting it. So with this lateral entry program, some of the benefits for this is applicants would still go to boot camp, they still get all the funness that is Coast Guard, but they do not have to attend what we call A school. They already come in with all of those skills, they come in with the knowledge. We don't need to send them to a school to learn knife skills or how to draw blood or how to fix a vehicle or something like that. They already come with those things. That's why it's such an important piece of it. It is a 4-year obligated service, so when they come in, they do have a full 4 years service. But some of those critical ratings, they actually come with a monetary signing bonus because they are critical. We are in need of these professionals, these people that bring things with them. So for example, health services technicians, as of 2025, Suella graduates, if they came in, would have a potential of a $30,000 signing bonus. For culinary specialists, they have a potential of a $60,000 signing bonus with their culinary degree. For electricians' mates, you have a potential of a $15,000 signing bonus. And for our machinery technicians, they have the potential for a $30,000 signing bonus. I mentioned those 4 because those are the 4 tracks that are currently approved by the Coast Guard, have been vetted by our rating force master chiefs, that the curriculums and the credentials that Suella graduates earn here match what we're teaching them in A school, if not surpassing it, and they have the ability to come in and be a direct strength for the Coast Guard and strengthen their skills as well within a field that they know. So I mentioned active duty, but they can also take these skills and join the Coast Guard Reserves, so local, to still take a benefit of those military benefits. I mentioned benefits. So with the Coast Guard comes, with the pay, comes pay and benefits. Service members' pay is set on their pay grade and their time in service. Entering in as an E4 or an E5, Suella graduates already coming with a head start. They don't start off at E1, they're skipping all that, they're starting off first year as an E4. In addition to their military pay, they receive BAH, that is your basic allowance of housing. This is a non-taxable money to cover 95% of their rent and their utilities. That is an expense that no one has to worry about, and that is based off of your station location, your pay grade, and whether or not you have dependents. So if you don't have dependents, you maybe get a little bit less. If you have dependents, you get a little bit more. They also receive basic allowance of substance and a uniform allowance monthly. So again, supporting, taking some of those stressors off of people who are serving. Service members have access to the blended retirement system, so they already start putting into their retirement. 30 days of paid leave per year, 12 weeks of paternity leave, and medical and education benefits for themselves and their immediate families. Of note, in particular, and I think sometimes this is really good for those who already come out with a degree, that the service member's GI Bill can be transferred to their dependents, and they can take advantage of that as well. I didn't get to do this for all of them, but I wanted to at least put a visual representation of those pay and those benefits. So here we have a visual representation of a Suella graduate entering the Coast Guard as an E4 stationed here in Lake Charles, would earn monthly and yearly compared to a graduate as a first-year automotive service technician earning $20 an hour, working 40 hours a week. That's about what I can compare from a first-year graduate within that automotive service specialty. Now, these outputs are estimated based on the Lake Charles average cost of living, so average across the board. As you can see, this first one is for a machinery technician without dependents, so a single member. The A single person in the Coast Guard as an E4 will have all the same monthly expenses in a lower base salary, but they will receive those additional BAHs, BASs, and uniform allowances to help offset those expenses. Where a first-year automotive service technician will have the higher base pay, but must account for all expenses without the additional help. As you can see here, there is a positive balance for both members, but the Coast Guard member would be able to put away additional money for savings. Same person, same members, and now we have a family of 4. Everything's the same, but healthcare is probably your biggest bet or your biggest difference. Our service member with dependents, doesn't matter how many dependents you have, only pays $32 a month for healthcare for themselves and their entire family. Based on the numbers, a Coast Guard member's spouse could, in theory, choose to stay home if they would. But as there is a negative balance on the other side, there would be a need for a second income within the family to make ends meet. So choices, we're all about choices and how to strengthen that work-life balance and how to prepare them for the future. So why the Coast Guard? Suella graduates can make an immediate impact on their life and the families of others. They can discover their better self by taking the skills they've learned at Suella and implementing them and refining them in the field. They can also gain the confidence and responsibility they need when they decide to come back into the civilian world. There's nothing better than knowing that you are the best thing in your job and you can hit the ground running as a veteran. And lastly, and for me, it has to be the people. I know the money's great and it's something it's great to look at. But I think when people retire, they never look back and say, the money was great, this was awesome. But 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get, it was the people. It was the people I worked with. It was the experiences I had. It was the community and the lifelong friendships and the memories that they made. As mentioned this morning, we did sign the letter of intent with the LCTCS to create that commitment. So what it was a commitment from the Coast Guard to actively evaluate and work with each of the remaining colleges within the system to get and develop recruitment pathways for direct enlistment, lateral entry programs. I spoke with Coast Guard recruiting just last week. They sit in Washington, D.C., and they are already working on individual initial LOIs for each of the 11 schools. And they have received the blessing for several programs. Our rating enforcement officers have already given the thumbs up to a number of programs at the other colleges to start those LOIs that they can join that piece. So I'm really excited to see where this can go. I was mentioning out in the lobby that this is purely an option. That's what you're giving your students. You're giving your students an option on how to move forward with their lives and how to make the best options for themselves, to experience the world, to build friendships, to get a little bit more confident in what they're doing, but also just see the world and have something to, I'm not gonna lie, I've done the Kool-Aid. I'm in. I love the Coast Guard. There's no better job. I mean, there are days I'm like, why am I here? But I love what I do. And in order to impart that experience on somebody else is just so wonderful. And so that's what I have to offer to your students and across the system now. So with that, are there any questions?
Well, I have to say thank you. Incredible. When you read
I
about the notes, I think we may have lost a staff member or two. Just thank you for extending a hand of opportunity to our students and to the Suella Technical Community College in particular, but then to see the broader impact as possible. So with that, let me ask if there are questions from members of the board.
We'd like to add one thing if possible. So we signed this in March, and it's only been about 6 months. So the partnership with Suella, what we've already decided to do is working with the deans of each of the different systems, bringing in a specialist at the key points of this decision-making for the students so that they have their options. So the units that are here with me today, they'll be that liaison. I won't be the liaison for the schools in Baton Rouge. I won't be the liaisons for the ones in Morgan City or Houma or in New Orleans. the Coast Guard network has already gotten the word that when these LOIs get signed, they're the liaison, they're the partnership, they're the ones we're supposed to be working with. So that's already been a commitment from our side to the system that we make this partnership work.
Questions, and particularly from a student.
All right, you guys, almost ready to sign up?
Yes.
Wanted to say, coming from a very strong military family, thank you for your service. But really, thank you for this initiative. I think this is a great option for students. Military is obviously not for everyone, but it is for some. And so I think this opens up a lot of opportunity across our state for our students. So thank you for the vision and leadership.
I was just about to, age limit.
So you're right in there.
I like you already.
She said we can't come out. Other questions?
Well, I'm a Marine combat veteran, so I actually sit on this board because of my GI Bill. So I'm all for it, honestly. Like, this is lovely that you can pretty much jump the ranks and become, an NCO in the Marine Corps, and already have your skill set. Cause, boot camp and going straight into the fleet, that's lovely instead of having to go. But I'm all for it. It's really good.
There you go. No chipping paint, no scrubbing decks, you're jumping right in.
So.
Let the record reflect that the United States
Marine Corps, veteran,
use the word lovely. The United States Marine Corps, right?
Growing every day.
Thank you so much. We're excited to see where this initiative will take our students, as you heard from Supervisor Hogan. This, I can't wait to come back to the board to be able to tell the story of the students who have benefited. So thank you very much for your leadership. Thank you to your command for being willing to take a chance and see the Solano Technical Community College as optional.
Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
At the table, I'd like to ask you again to shift into second presentation that is rooted here at Solano Technical Community College. And I know that we have a very special guest with you, Dr. Jason Van Meter, who's been a great partner with us in this initiative. So thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you.
Good. Again, good morning, Chair Hardy, President Fellow, and members of the board. I want to talk to you this morning about a very unique dual enrollment project. Everyone knows about high school dual enrollment, but this is a little different. It's called the Virtual Instruction Program, or VIP program. And of course, as Dr. Sullivan said, I have with me Dr. Van Meter, who's the superintendent of Calcasieu Parish School System, and Dr. Helms, who will stay because, again, she was instrumental in setting this program up and keeping the program going. But everyone's familiar with online courses and online instruction, but this VIP program uses a little different approach. The VIP, which ensures equity of access, that's what they say, equity of access, provides quality college courses to students in 11 high schools in Calcasieu Parish, throughout the parish. And some of these high schools are very rural, very small, so they did not have the student populations to warrant college courses or an additional college teacher. So this synchronous program requires all participating students to go to their high school campus every morning. They have a traditional high school schedule, but they do it through VIP, or virtual instruction. Dr. Helms is here because if we implement any new credit programs or any new off-campus sites, as you know, we're under SACS requirement. So it's very stringent about how we implement courses and implement or establish new sites. So she made sure that we stayed within the SACS guidelines and we still meeting requirements. So just for clarification, most people, when you say dual enrollment for technical community colleges, you think of CTE, career technical education. This is different. And I think I see you have the brochure. We're offering classes like physics, calculus, English. Those what people would call real college courses. That's what we're offering to these students. So for no further ado, I'd ask Dr. Van Meter if he would tell us a little bit about the program.
Sure. Thank y'all so much for having me today and giving me the opportunity to highlight not only our program, but our partnership that we have with Suella, which we really do value. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I didn't plan on saying this piece, but after watching the last presentation, you're going to hear the same themes. that you heard in the last, one, right? And one of those themes is opportunity and the opportunities that we're providing for our kids. And the other theme that I picked up from that is people, right? And it's those people interactions that are allowing these opportunities to take place. One of my favorite sayings is it's all about people all the time. We have an opportunity and something really, really good that's happening for our kids. It's people working hard to make that happen. And so everything you're going to see today is opportunities for kids because people worked really hard, formed good relationships between CPSB and Suella in order to make this happen for kids on our camp, on 11 different campuses across 1,100 square miles, because we have a very large parish. Right? So I'd just like to say that this program itself was actually honored by the Louisiana Department of Education with the Models of Excellence Award, which is one of the highest awards that the LDOE gives for programs. When we were able to bring those folks in and show them the type of relationship that we have with our local community college, as well as the opportunities that we're providing for our kids, they wanted to share with everybody else. And so we've since brought in folks from all over the state in order to see. So just to kind of take off from what Dr. Aspinwall said, this is not normal online classes, because normal online classes for high school kids, to be straight, don't work, right? Some of them aren't mature enough to have a regular online class. This doesn't look like that. This is a synchronous class, which means you've got a teacher every day teaching your kid. It's just through, for all intents and purposes, Zoom, right? And what that means is, going back to that people thing, those folks can form a relationship with those kids, right? And one of the things that you're going to see as we walk through this, even with those opportunities, and I don't think I highlighted too much in here, but it's the cool things that don't get highlighted too, right? In the fall, on a high school campus, you've always got homecoming week, right? Well, our folks at VIP, our teachers, are celebrating homecoming week for each of those high schools. So if it's, high school, if it's Westlake High that has homecoming this week and it's dress up day, then those VIP teachers will dress up, right? And then next week they're dressing up for Sam Houston. And then, they may go see a ball game for a kid, because they're trying to form those relationships, because this can't look like online, like online normally looks like, because online for us doesn't work for every kid, right? So if we want to bring this to the masses, then we've got to make it personal, and we got to make it about people. And we've picked teachers that really do a great job of that, right? But it's also about equity of access and offering a diversity of courses. In addition to being a high school teacher, I was also a high school administrator, right? So as a high school teacher, when I left the classroom, I was teaching physics and AP biology, right? Physics teachers, especially certified physics teachers, are extremely hard to find, right? Those folks, they're unicorns now. So if we find one, we've got to leverage their credentials, and we do that through this program. So let's talk about how this works and why it's a little bit different. First of all, and this may have been, to be honest with you, the hardest part of this is convincing all these principals to synchronize their bell schedules. Because as a former high school principal, I can tell you, right? Oh, you don't understand. Our bell schedule, we have to do it. No. Here it is. Everybody's got to be the same. And the reason everybody is the same is because we're going to offer courses that exist across 11 different campuses. And so we can't have this class getting out 5 minutes early and this class starting 5 minutes early. Everybody's the same. Although it seems like a small thing, this doesn't work without. We also have all of our VIP teachers in one location. So we house them at Lake Charles Boston Academy in downtown Lake Charles. It's a great facility for this. And through this, we also have an opportunity for all those teachers to do all the things that it takes to be a good teacher on a campus too. So in addition to teaching your classes, we've got PLCs that are gonna happen within that campus so that these teachers can keep up with what needs to happen and do some PD as things go by. There's no actual physical kids for the VIP program there, although they do visit throughout the course of the year, right? They're gonna visit both Lake Charles Boston Academy and meet their VIP teachers. They also come and visit Suella. And what a great opportunity to show off this beautiful facility and the opportunities that they have here, right? What's gonna happen is at an individual site, we've got a room dedicated with a facilitator there where we've got the learning on the kids side happening. So we've got the teacher at LCB that's actually broadcasting out. We've got the kids at the campus that are actually receiving that learning and participating, right? I think this is actually a little bit cooler than the teacher side at VIP. Because you go to VIP at LCB and there's giant screens and, you know, that's kind of neat. But then you go to an actual school. You walk into a classroom at Starks High School, right? And Starks High School, for those of you who don't know, quite small, right? K-12 school, very rural, couple hundred kids. So you may have 20 kids in a graduating class, right? Can they offer physics with 20 kids in a graduating class? They cannot, for two reasons. Number one, they may not have a certified teacher to teach it. Number two, and I understand this too as a former high school administrator, they can't afford to take a block of time and have 3 kids taught by one teacher. That just doesn't work, right? You go into that class now at a VIP class, what's going to end up happening? You may have 15 kids in the class taking 7 different classes all at the same time, right? A couple of them are in calculus together. This one's taking physics. This one's taking sign language. You've got all kinds of opportunities for these kids that places like our very small schools would be impossible for them to offer, right? It's about offering opportunity and chances for these kids to take stuff. Another piece, keying on the people side, if you're a senior at Starks High School, you've been with the same 20 kids in a class since pre-K. In order to prep them to go to Suella the next year, right? And be exposed to all kinds of different people, it makes so much sense too to have them now in a classroom with kids from all over the parish, where they're now forming relationships and they're going to ball games together and they're going and hanging out on the weekends together, right? It's the opportunity and it's the people piece too that's so incredibly important, right? All these kids within a VIP classroom, like I said, have the earphones on, right? So basically the facilitator is there to make sure, you know, they don't burn the room down because they're high school kids, right? But then also to make sure that we don't have any technical problems or anything like that. We can go back. I think you've got a list in front of you in terms of the course offerings, and you're going to see they're pretty diverse in terms of course offerings. And they don't look like they did. I'm going to tell you this. They don't look like they did when this program was started. One of the great things about partnering with Suella is they are so open to unique opportunities and new opportunities for our kids. So that when the high school department goes to them and says, hey, we want to offer this. We're thinking about offering this next year. What do you think? We're in, right?
Jump in and talk a little about
100%, please.
So, kind of piggybacking on that, we started in 21-22 with a conversation, with A-Bear, one of his colleagues, and she said, we want to start this program, and we would like to offer 2 classes, math and English. So we started in 21-22 offering 2 classes and 6 credit hours. That went really well. They came back and said, we would like to add to the classes that we're offering. I said, okay, let's do some calculations and make sure we're still good with tax. And so it was determined that we needed to do a notification so we could offer 25 to 49% of the program. So we did that the next year. They came back and said, this is really working well. The students are really taking hold. The instructors, we have solid instructors, which we were able to credential. we would like to do this farther. We want the students to be able to earn credential. We're all about that. So we submitted a prospectus to COC, and I'm happy to say that now all 11 schools, high schools, are off-campus instruction sites with SAC. So we're super excited. So what does that do? That makes it possible for now a student to earn a CGS, a Certificate of General Studies, or an AGS, Associate of General Studies, without ever leaving a high school campus. So we're super excited to partner with them and continue to add new classes. So that's kind of the SAC's perspective. And we have a visit actually next week. They're coming to visit 5 of these high school sites.
So we have had a partnership with both Suella and McNeese for a while in terms of sending a kid, the STEPS program, where a kid basically becomes a Suella student their senior year. This doesn't necessarily look like that, because as a high school principal, although that's a great program, I lost some of my best kids to Suella their senior year, right? And I'm sure Dr. Aspinwall and Dr. Helms loved it, but as the principal of Westlake High School, I didn't, right? Because I wanted that kid on my campus being a leader on my campus, right? What this does too is allows them opportunities to take classes through Suella and still be a high school kid. So you're gonna see 4 different kids up there and schedules for 4 different kids, right? They're all on their campus all day long. And you see things like band, right? You're gonna see chorus. You can have a football player on there. And they're still a part of their campus, but they have opportunities here with as little or as much as you want. You want 1 VIP course? We got it. You want 5? We got you there too, right? And so a kid has an opportunity to go through and choose what we've got in terms of options for them, right? So it's that flexibility that's absolutely key. Just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. This is, I told you gave you an idea of what it looked like on a school side. This is what it looks like on a school side, right? In terms of what a classroom might look like on a campus, right? Now, some campuses are bigger than others, yes. So if you go to Barb High School, which actually also has a very large participation in this, right? The classroom's gonna be bigger, right? But the opportunities for those kids are the same. When you look at a VIP teacher classroom at LCB, it's no kids in there, but the tech is substantial because that's all they do, right? So it does, that's kind of cool too, but I really do think the coolest part of this is on the school side, where you've got opportunities for kids that are amazing, right? And still forming that relationship with a teacher. No teacher becomes a teacher in order to not interact with kids, right? So even though we've got folks who are very highly credentialed and they're teaching online, they still have an opportunity every day to interact with kids like they would in their classroom. And if you talk to them, that's one of the things that they talk about is that interaction with kids that's so important. We're gonna go ahead and show you a short video, kind of a promotional video that we did in order to promote this. And I think that's one of the things you're gonna see, right? So you're gonna start off with, I think it's Mr. Sanders that starts off, who's the principal at Starks High School. And our smaller high schools benefit from this, but our bigger ones do as well. And you're gonna talk to, or you'll see kids talk to you too, about the opportunities that they have. So, you'll give us just a second. Yes, sir.
The VIP program has had a substantial impact on our kids. It's allowed our kids, especially our high school kids, to have access to a program and educational arrangement that we didn't have prior to. So when the VIP program came along, we realized very early on that this would open up opportunities. Having 3 or 4 kids in a class was sometimes hard to accommodate to have a teacher available during a certain time. But with the VIP, we have the flexibility of we have 6 kids and they're all in different classes at the same time.
So the product, is there a service in there for this company and your logo? Like we're adding a spin to, I like that. All right, so they got a spin on there.
VIP has impacted me in a lot of ways. Specifically, I've met so many people that I would not have had the opportunity to meet if I would have not done a virtual program. I've met people from other schools that I'm very close with. We hang out outside of school and stuff. On top of that, I've also met a lot of great teachers that I have good connections with that I don't think I could have in an in-person classroom.
If I were to, yeah, because really it's a story, because it's really just a conversation, right?
I think it better prepares me because like I'm going into college and you know most courses you can't like sit face to face. Like most courses you're gonna have to like do online. And I feel like this just prepares me because I got awesome teachers, awesome programs. So I feel like it better prepares me to see what I'm gonna face in college. I'm getting the feels and how it's gonna be, homework assignments, they watch us take the test. You know, you get prepared, like you get prepared to see what's gonna happen in the college world.
You're saving a lot of money through getting these college courses out of the way. And I think it's really awesome in the way that it lets you explore different fields that you might be interested in.
This program means a lot to our students. I think they're getting a lot of education with the VIP program. They're prepping them for their future. And that's what we really want them to do, is learn as much as they can in high school to make life easier for them later on. I think this really is one of those world-class educations that we're offering to our students now. They're getting college credit right here at Sam Houston High School.
A lot of it that goes into it is the studying part. The way that we're studying now in class, which she prepares us for, is how we're going to end up having to study whenever we're in college. So I think that's going to be the biggest, help for college-wise.
We're just turning the words into our substrate to make our compound, where calcium has a 2+ charge.
The VIP program has better prepared me for the future by allowing more classes and better diversification of classes.
By the end of the first year, you have a good feel for how things work. But as a second-year student, I feel more confident. I've definitely made more friends this year. I've had more experience so that I know how to pace myself through these classes better. I know how to manage my time better. So I'm ready for what comes next.
Any questions?
Powerful statement at the end. I'm ready for what comes next. Yes, sir. Very well done. Questions from members of the board? What an incredible opportunity to extend to young people. We are so excited about, you took a model that didn't work, as you just described, the online approach that we've taken over the years, and you found a way to make it work so that we kept what's special, and that is the human interaction.
And we could do any of that. And sell it to these kids, right? Without the component of dual enrollment and without Suella's partnership. And so we thank y'all for sharing them with us, and we thank them for the partnership that they've had with us since the inception, and the willingness to grow as our kids are asking for it. Because the lift, from what I understand, to get 11 different sites certified is substantial. And Dr. Helms and Dr. Aspinwall, they really did big time work on that end so that our kids can have opportunities more than they did. We really appreciate that.
Incredible opportunities that are being created by leadership. Mr. Aspinwall, thank you for the incredible work that you're doing. Dr. Helms, we know that you're right behind it, running as fast as you can. So thank you to Chancellor for the hosting this week, as well as for the incredible programming that you told us about this evening. Right. Yes, is someone who is no stranger to this organization, someone who has visited with us a number of times in the past, Ken Notkin, who Ken joins us from the Contractors Education Trust Fund, and
It's years to do something that he's really good at, giving away money. That's what we like to hear, right?
So, with that, I'll turn things over to you and give you an opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Dr. Ken Nakhan. I'm a dual role. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of the Construction Education Trust Fund, which is a semi-trust fund from the Licensing Board for Contractors, and I'm also CEO for the next 81 days at Louisiana AGC. I am retired. But not from the what we do here. I didn't bring any slideshow, I didn't bring any film. I just brought money. As Dr. Sullivan said, this is one of the better days of my business year. I love giving away money, particularly when it's not mine. Like last year, we're here on behalf of CETF to make an annual contribution to the LCTCS Foundation of $120,000. What we have decided to do as a trust is that we will donate $10,000 per community college to the foundation. The foundation gives that money to the community colleges. In my understanding, it turns over 4 times. So our original $120,000 contribution almost becomes a $500,000 contribution. And just to give you some idea of how this works, the CETF takes the fine money. The licensing board fines contractors that break the law. And they take the fine money and pass it through to the CETF, which then passes it through to construction education. Also, there's some legislation in existence since 2013 that added $100 to the contractor's license, and that money goes to the accredited schools of construction in Louisiana, and there's 4 actually, 3 4-year universities and 1 2-year university, LSU, ULM, Louisiana Tech, and BRCC has an accredited 2-year program. The CETF just this year here in Calcasieu Parish, we were with Dr. Vandermeer just 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And gave him a $25,000 contribution for their high school career center. What we have done, the CETF has done, is identified high school districts around the state that have a centralized career center where they teach construction crafts, amongst other things, culinary, nursing, et cetera. But one of the things that they do is that we do support is construction crafts, welding, carpentry, plumbing, et cetera. And we have committed to donate or contribute to each one of those career centers $25,000 a year to help in their craft training. We're not rich enough to give every high school in the state that does it, but we have concentrated on career centers, and there's about 9 of them in the state. We also just in this past summer was here to give McNeese, to donate to McNeese $50,000 for their 4-year construction program. There are some schools that are uncredited, does not have national accreditation, that have some construction programs. So we've given $50,000 to McNeese, Nichols, UNO, Southeastern, Grambling, just to name a few. So we have contributed since we have started this. The construction industry has started this in the 90s. They have contributed over $25 million to construction education around the state, higher ed, now community colleges, and now all the way down to high schools. I know no other industry in the state that gives back like the construction industry. So it's our pleasure today to present to the board our annual, and there's one caveat. They have to ask for the money every year. I don't remind them that we give you the money, and Chandler has done a good job reminding me. By the way, he has to check, so don't let them escape. It's our pleasure to present to y'all the 2024 CETF contribution to the college system.
Good, thank you very much. Supervisor Smith just indicated that you should set a reminder every year. So make sure we ask for that 20,000, right?
I was worried, man. We all the way into October. I'm like, where's the request?
Very good.
Well, certainly appreciate all the partnerships. I want to run through a few of the college updates. A quick follow-up on
Meeting with Supervisor Smith and staff had about 2 months ago with our friends from the Office of Juvenile Justice. The folks in Newell's Community College who are partnering with the Office of Juvenile Justice to teach welding to a cohort of students every Friday, leading to the AWS certification. That's helping people that are justice involved be able to get those certifications. Also, Nunez Community College this past Thursday represented not only Nunez, but also our Louisiana Community and Technical Colleges at the White House, as there was a discussion about workforce within the aerospace industry. Little old Nunez Community College, right there in the halls of the White House.
That's impressive. Congratulations to the folks at Nunez.
Community colleges, excited to announce their largest enrollment number in the college's 94-year history. First established in 1930 as the Sullivan Trade School in Boulder, Sullivan Memorial Trade School. I'll get that right. With a fall people class that includes 6,024 students. Good job. College held its their 5th annual Building Futures fundraiser luncheon, with proceeds benefiting programs in allied health, nursing, construction, management, culinary arts, motor vehicle technology, etc. It was hosted by the Delgado Foundation. The event was held September 9th. New Orleans City Council member Oliver Thomas served as the guest speaker, while Hancock Whitney served as the title sponsor. The event raised $100,000 for student scholarships. On luncheon, that raised $100,000. Also, in Delgado, there was an inaugural session of the Delgado Leadership Institute. A number of our colleges around the state are creating their own leadership institutes to help grow the business within our colleges. Because, as Frank said, 10 years ago, he looked around and he sees a lot of folks that he saw 10 years ago. What will happen 10 years from now? There are leaders within our colleges that we have to take the time to develop. Delgado Community College is following the lead of a number of other institutions in starting that leadership institute. Congratulations also to Director of Athletics at Delgado Community College, Mr. Joe Sherman, who has been announced as a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame class of 2025. Coach Sherman has the title as being the winningest college baseball coach in Louisiana. Let that sink in when you think of all of the programs that we've seen over the years and how impressive they are. But it was Joe Sherman at Delgado Community College that is the winningest baseball coach in the collegiate ranks in Louisiana. Good stuff. All right, bumping down to Bossier Parish Community College. Cyber Security Talent Initiative Fund awards $1 million each year to advance the goal of increasing the cyber workforce in the state. This fund supported LCTCS proposals totaling $430,000. This year, it was Fletcher Technical Community College and Bossier Parish Community College had the projects funded and secured 43% of the total fund. Good work to both Fletcher Technical Community College and Bossier Parish Community College. Also, Bossier Parish Community College signed a preferred training partnership agreement with the Bossier Sheriff's Office. Again, another example of what we're seeing where our colleges are reaching in and helping partners within the community to do their jobs better. Excited and thankful to Chancellor Bateman for the incredible work there. And then finally, Bossier Parish Community College has won a competitive contract worth $516,000 from the Cyber Innovation Center, and will collaborate with Louisiana Tech University to develop curriculum to enhance digital fluency among the action officers of the Air Force Global Strike Unit. Again, our colleges in a role of securing our nation's future. That's pretty incredible stuff. Thank you, Chancellor Bateman. With a couple of quick comments about our colleagues to the east.
Today, our friends in Florida are staring down one of the unfortunate, most difficult storms that we could imagine. We've been there. We know right here in this building, you face down a similar kind of circumstance. Today, we lift up the people of Florida in our prayers, the people of North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia that were impacted by Hurricane Helene. We have all been there. We know what this feels like. I urge you to pray. I urge you to give. I urge you to support those folks in any way that you can, because I remember many of them helped us. So I urge each one of you to remember our colleagues today and each day as they go forward in trying to rebuild their life. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sullivan. This time I'd like to state that there's no board development for this meeting. And this time we will move to the general action items. I will ask Supervisor Jennifer Lee. She will present the academic action item for consideration by the board.
Thank you, Chair Hardy. With regard to the academics items, the first item on the agenda is an accreditation update, and I would invite Dr. Chandler LaBeouf to provide us with information and an update.
Good morning, Chair Hardy, President Sullivan, members of the board. I'll ask that Chancellor Spillers please join us for the update regarding North Louisiana Technical Community College and its accreditation progress.
Good morning, Chair Hardy, Dr. Sullivan, members of the board. I feel kind of alone without Chancellor Sawtelle joining me today. Okay. Pretty much what I want to share with you today is that we are on track. We're very excited that we're going to have our first initial visit the week of March 17th. And so our team is working very hard to be prepared for that. We could not do this without many members here of LCTCS, Bill Tulak, Wendy Palermo, and that team, all their advice and guidance. But I also want to point out some of my fellow chancellors who've helped us. Chancellor Tenney, Chancellor Strickland, advice, guidance. They've been through it, so they have lots of guidance on that. And of course, Chancellor Sawtelle, who's just gone through, run the gauntlet of that, and for his team and all that they've assisted us with and given us the kind of a roadmap of where those potholes can be. So thank you to everyone, and we look forward to having future updates in positive direction.
May the luck of the Irish be with you. Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The second item on the agenda, that was for board information only. The second item is our revisions to LCTCS policy number 9.001 regarding power-based violence and sexual misconduct, and Dr. LaBeouf will provide information about that.
Yes, so LCTCS policy 9.001 is here for recommendation approval. It takes simple edits that were required in legislation regarding the 30-day MOU with law enforcement. So this is really implementing that language to make sure that all of our colleges and our system has those MOUs in place with law enforcement within those 30 days.
Thank you. At this time, I move that. Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, the staff recommends that the board approve the revisions to LCTCS policy 9.001 power-based violence, sexual misconduct.
Thank you. I move that we accept the staff recommendations. Is there any discussion or question?
First by Supervisor Smith, second by Supervisor Johnson.
All right. Are there any objections? Hearing no objections, this motion carries. Third item on the agenda is originally for review and advisement only, and that is a revision to LCTCS policy number 2.018 regarding campus-free expression. And as Vice President of the Academics Committee, I move to suspend the rules for academics item J3 to be considered for action instead of review and advisement. Are there any objections to that? If there are no objections and hearing no objections, academics item J3 will be considered for action.
Great. So LCTCS policy 2.018 is in reference to the recent governor's executive orders regarding Act 548. And it's really allowing us and requesting us to update the definitions to be more clear with policy and our college policies, and to really expand upon what's already in policy. And so through those executive orders, we're taking action to make sure we're updated and aligned. And so I'll read the recommendations. Staff recommends that the board accept for review and advisement proposed revisions to LCTCS policy 2.018 campus free expression.
Yeah, it'll be for approval.
For approval. So staff recommends that the board accept and approve the proposed revisions for policy 2.018 campus free expression.
Thank you. I move that we accept the staff's recommendations. Is there a second?
The first, Supervisor Salat, a second, Supervisor Eli. Thank you.
All right, are there any questions or discussion about? All right, are there any objections? All right, hearing no objections, this motion carries. The final item on the agenda is a review and advisement of revisions to LCTCS policy number 2.004 regarding student conduct and appeal procedures. Dr. LeBeau?
Yes, so with LCTCS policy 2.004, student conduct and appeal process, what we have done is updated the standard of evidence regarding student conduct cases. So being more clear and concise around the higher standard of evidence. So likely taking that to 70% in terms of really going through a student conduct and the appeal process to really do our due process. And so again, this really just tightens up that process and language as well.
Thank you. And as that was for information only. There is no action required. Chair Hardy, that completes my item.
Thank you. This time we'll move to facilities. Supervisor Stan Celeste, are you ready to present the facilities action item for consideration by the board?
Thank you very much, Chairman. The Facilities Committee presents the action items consideration for the board. The number one item, first item, is the capital outlay request for fiscal year 2025-26.
Mr. Chair, members, Toby Como, Vice President of Administration. First meeting with y'all, really excited to be here. Just wanted to say, real briefly, heard a lot about opportunity today, heard a lot about people today. My past experience, had the privilege of being the Deputy Secretary at DCFS and focused on the same things there. So really excited to bring the work from that agency, support of that team. You heard Secretary Showen talk earlier about opportunities specifically with facilities, right? Looking at deferred maintenance as we move forward. So really excited to be here. Thank you everybody for your warm welcome to me. I look forward to working with each of you. So for this specific item, this is the capital outlay request for fiscal year 25-26. I understand in August, you had this for review and advisement. One substantive change is we reprioritized that list to move the Hammond campus for the North Shore Technical Community College. It was recommended as the number 9 priority system project at that time. It has now been moved as the top priority, given recent interest by local and state leaders. Everything else is the same. You have that list.
Had a meeting with Chancellor Carlson, folks from North Hospital, speaker, as well as Senator Wheat and Representative Coates. Those individuals made a commitment to work to drive this project as our number one project.
I won't go any further than this, but very simply said, this project is one that has been highly needed for many, many years. Unfortunately, the politics of the local area sometimes get in the way.
So,
That has been a challenge for us in that location, and fortunately, I think the stars are aligned in a way now that allows us to be able to move forward with this project. That is why you see the alignment of those priorities.
As far as the recommendation, staff recommends that the board approve the 2025-2026 capital outlay list of recommended projects and authorize the president to make any technical corrections to the request that may be necessary before final submission to the Board of Education.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for this recommendation.
By Supervisor Smith, seconded by Supervisor Butler McIntosh.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, so, Mr. President, as we told was a new person, we usually get a guarantee from a staff member that these projects are gonna be. And that's usually part of the protocol, Toby?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. At least we're gonna convince him of that, right? So I think you guys know that this has been a process for us that has not been fruitful over the years. We have spent a lot of time requesting capital outlay. In the last couple of years, we have had a few projects funded, particularly I'll point to the healthcare campus or healthcare facility at Baton Rouge Community College has been a classic example. So we do believe that we're in a much better place today to be able to receive some of these resources, and certainly look forward to Toby's leadership in getting that done, and we are together.
Any additional discussion? The motion carries. If there's no objection. Thank you very much. Next item, for the facilities action, recommendation is authorizing naming rights to North Shore Technical Community College.
Good morning again. We have Chancellor Carlson joining us in reference to the recommendation for the naming right at North Shore Technical Community College and naming the Journeyman Industrial Building after a late individual at the institution, and I will let him give more detail about the impact in the individual.
Good morning, and thanks for having me today. Last April, we had an unfortunate circumstance where our longtime director of our Youthfield Bogalusa program, Dr. Danielle Keys, passed away suddenly. She had served with the program since 2008 and as the director since 2009. Sadly, it was 3 weeks before she was to graduate from University of Louisiana Lafayette. We had been working on a project to move Youthfield Bogalusa back to the campus for the first time since the 1990s. And the former building got a renovation. It's been a project we've been working on for literally, I think, about 8 or 9 months. We moved furniture in last week. So what I would like to request from the board is to consider us renaming that facility after Dr. Danielle Keys and her long-term commitment now to the people of Bogalusa, as she served as a city councilwoman, and most importantly, as our leader and director of the Youthfield Bogalusa program.
I'll read the recommendation. Yep, staff recommends that the board authorize North Shore Technical Community College to name the Journeyman Industrial Building, which was remodeled to house the Youthfield Bogalusa program in Bogalusa, Louisiana, for Dr. Danielle Keys, the director of Youthfield Bogalusa, in accordance with LCTCS Board Policy 4.003, naming of the LCTCS facilities. The naming request complies with the system naming policy in honoring an individual that has rendered distinguished service, warranting recognition of their exceptional contributions to the college.
Thank you. You heard the recommendation. I would entertain a motion for this recommendation.
Supervisor Mao, second by Supervisor Ardoin. Thank you.
Very good. Is there any discussion? Any additional discussion? Hearing none, is there any opposition to this recommendation? None, then the motion carries. Thank you very much. That concludes the facilities report. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor. Next, I will take the finance, for consideration By the board, I don't know if I was supposed to stop. This item is FY 2024-25 operating budget for LCTCS entities.
With Joe Marine's absence, we have with us Joel Watkins, who is the budget director and the gentleman who spends most of his time constructing this budget each year. So Joel, we'll turn to you.
I don't think that span was on in the least. Just for some background, I'll quickly go over the budget process and the board item that's before you now. So in June, the legislature passes the appropriation bill for the next fiscal year that begins in July. The colleges then create a budget based on this allocation for the new fiscal year, in this case, fiscal year 24-25. This budget includes revenues and expenses from the fiscal year just ended, based on financial information from the financial year-end close that ends August 15th. By board policy, this board approves this budget for the new fiscal year, and those budgets are submitted to the Board of Regents, who then acts on them at their September board meeting as part of the budget process for the upcoming fiscal year 2025-26 budget. Because of timing issues arising from this board meeting in August, which is before the August 15th financial year end close, and now in October, which is after the Board of Regents receives the budgets at the September meeting, action was taken by the board at the August meeting, where you approved the fiscal year 2024-25 budget allocations from the legislature. And that board action also recognized that the college's formal budgets would be submitted at the October meeting, which is what we're doing now. So, questions, I can read the recommendation. Staff recommends the board accept receipt of the formal 2024-2025 operating budget of the Louisiana Community Technical College System, colleges, and the board office.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval?
First by Supervisor Salah, second by Supervisor Johnson. Thank you.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Or are there objections? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is governance. The Supervisor Stevie Smith, can you handle that for us?
Sure can. The first item under governance is revision to the bylaws for the Board of Supervisors for the LCTCS. Who's gonna handle that? That you? I'll pick that up.
The bylaws of this organization were set back in 1998-99. There've been a number of changes throughout the years. Most recently, in the legislative session that was 2024, there was a statute that passed that gave the governor the authority to appoint the chair of each of the higher education boards. As such, the bylaws need to be adjusted to accommodate that legal change, but then also to create some flexibility for how we then populate each of the committees in terms of membership. And so the changes that you have before you today are captured in those two areas. And with that, I'll read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the board approve the revisions to the bylaws of the Board of Supervisors, Louisiana Community and Technical College System as presented.
Okay, we've heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Mount, seconded by Supervisor Butler McIntyre. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Are there any questions from the board members for this item? No? Any objections? Hearing none, that motion carries. I guess the next section is personnel, Mr. Chairman. You want to jump right into that one? The next one is review and revision to LCTCS policy number 6.015, grievance for all employees. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good to see everyone after our very good meal last night. It's kind of hard getting up. So the grievance policy was last reviewed in 2001. As you know, a lot has changed during that time. Our procedures have changed, but the policy had not. So we totally revamped the policy to include the current procedures that are happening at the board office and through the colleges. This was vetted through all of the human resource people, the chief academic officers, as well as the chancellors. So what you have in front of you for review and advisement is a new grievance policy that specifically lays out what's grievable and the process by which an employee should go through. You're
Okay,
ready
so-
for me to read the recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
Staff recommends that the board accept for review and advisement the revisions to LCTCS policy 6.015 grievance for all employees.
Okay, so that's for review and advisement, board members, so we don't need any action. I would just encourage you, if you have questions about the policy after you begin to go to Dr. Sullivan or Dina, to answer questions, and this will be up for our approval at our next meeting. The next one is revisions to LCTCS policy number 6.501 faculty workload. That you, Andrew?
Policy needed some cleanup. It was referencing other policies and we needed to instead reference the laws that put those recommendations, those procedures in place. So last board meeting, we discussed those changes. So today we're just asking for approval of that policy. And if y'all ready, I'll read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the board approve revisions to LCTCS policy 6.501 faculty workload.
So is there a direct correlation between the increase in faculty workload and increase in grievances? 'Cause we do I'm not gonna touch that. That's a rhetorical question. Don't answer that. Okay, so we've heard the recommendation, and this one does require a board action. So do we have a motion and a second?
Motion by Supervisor Mount. May I have a second? Second by Supervisor Eli. Thank you.
Motion and a second. Any further questions for our team?
If there are no questions, I do want to mention, this is an item that, while it is the faculty workload policy, we are in the midst of a review of faculty workload. This approval does not impact the faculty workload policy directly as it relates to the specifics of workload. Instead, this is dealing with a legal change that we felt like we needed to go back and clean up now. And then we will continue to work with our faculty over the next few months to come back to the board with a more complete faculty workload policy. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, good reason to, vote on that area. That's great. Are there any objections to the motion? Hearing none, that motion does carry. And so, we have a need for an executive session today, right, Mr. Chairman, to discuss items J11, J12, J13, and J14. So we'll need to use the motion to go into executive session for that purpose.
Motion by Supervisor Butler McIntyre, seconded by Supervisor Smith. Yes, sir. I'd be happy to do that. Chair Hardy,
Yes.
Supervisor Smith,
Yes.
Supervisor Burke,
Yes.
Supervisor Butler McIntyre,
Yeah.
Supervisor Hogan, Supervisor Johnson,
Yes.
Supervisor Lee,
Yes.
Supervisor Moody,
Yes.
Supervisor Mount,
Yes.
Supervisor Salat, Supervisor Ardoin, Supervisor Eli.
Yes.
All in favor for executive session, you may go.
Yes. Boy, going upstairs, right? Upstairs, there's an elevator, you can see all the.
Yes, sir, I would be happy to. Chair Hardy. Present. Supervisor Smith.
Here.
Present. Supervisor Burke.
Present.
Present. Supervisor Butler McIntyre.
I'm here.
Present. Supervisor Hogan. Present. Supervisor Johnson.
Present.
Present. Supervisor Lee.
Present.
Present. Supervisor Moody. Present. Supervisor Mount.
Present.
Present. Supervisor Salah.
Here.
Present. Supervisor Ardwan. Present. Supervisor Eli. Present. Okay, Chair Hardy, we do have a quorum reestablished.
Thank you. I'd like to first say, like to state that no votes were taken and no consensus was reached during the executive session. This time, I will turn it back over to Supervisor Smith. And we continue to present personnel action items for consideration by the board.
Okay, so the next one on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, is J11 pending and potential litigation or settlement authority. And I don't think we have an item to go over, Mr. President, that's correct. So the next item is number 12, which is the board self-evaluation in accordance with section 18 of the bylaws and science COC standards 4.2G. So I believe that self-evaluation has been distributed to all the board members, all in executive session, right? That's what's on our desktop, everybody. So if you haven't had a chance to review that, please review that. So I think it's very good information on the gentlemen themselves. If you have any questions about it, please contact the chairman or me. You can't find the chairman.
And the recommendation for that one, staff recommends the board acknowledge the review and approval of the attached summary of results for the Board of Supervisors 2024 Board Self-Evaluation.
So we do need a motion second.
Supervisor Salah. Supervisor Salah first and Supervisor Johnson second. Thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Do we have any questions on this motion? Do we have any objections? Hearing none, then move on to J13, which is evaluations of LCTCS chancellors.
So, that is for board information and does not involve, a vote by the board members.
Okay. Very good. And then the last one is J14, which is a performance evaluation of the LCTCS systems president. So, Mr. Chairman, you have a few comments relative to that?
Yes, I will. Those evaluations have been done. I think it's pretty clear about the evaluation that Dr. Sullivan continues to exceed expectations. And, we just are proud of the work you do and all the hard work you do. We have more discussions. If you don't have to say anything else.
No, I just, simply want to say thank you to the board and thank you to the members of this team, an incredible, collection of chancellors and board office staff. You make this job doable every day. And so, just want to say thank you again to the board for the opportunity and thank you to our team members.
Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. Any other comments? Board members? Next item, I'd like to reference the updates and encourage board members to review the information provided. If there's any additional business to come before this board, please don't state. And at this time, I will ask Ms. Wu whether or not there's been any public comments.
Yes, sir. We have not received any.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on, I think our next meeting is gonna be, in December. And so I think we have a commitment to have some bakery products delivered from the bakery in Natchitoches at the next, have this discussion last night. I think we have I don't know if we need to make that order, or if I just gotta say it and put it on the record to make it. I think I just did the second.
I love it.
I'm sorry.
No.
But I hear it's good.
Thank you. Just a few announcements. Please complete the required mandatory training according to the schedule that Ms. Poole has sent to everyone, and please reach out to her if you need additional help. Fall commencement schedule will be forthcoming, so please look out for those. As I said yesterday, some of those moving things you can do. So you can attend some of those, especially those that are near you. Please try to do so. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Chair, before we adjourn, I just would like to remind us, this is October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You will always remember if there's contributions you can give to an agency, you can make to those who are going through, have been through, that would be appreciated. And if you find something in your closet that's pink, wear it one day this month. We're going to make sure we are always reminded of.
Thank you for that, Supervisor. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Motion by Supervisor Johnson, seconded by Supervisor Mount.
Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
So.